Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at part 1 of episode 50, so let's get into the video. Starting off, each of the two New Zealand countries get their independence, as well as New Caledonia going with the northern New Zealand country. Moving on to down here in Antarctica, the Yellow Australia will be taking full control over all of Green Australia's claim to Australia, meaning that they have a lot of Australian claims. So they own about a third of Australia, which is pretty cool. We have over here, where we have Red Alaska, we have them fighting on in the war, but for probably not that long. Because they're moving down into the green team even more so, and they have started kind of a new offensive in the northern part up here, but it's not really going too good for them because they are worried of this front line, because this front line is getting constantly invaded on this front line, and we need to talk about the alliances right now. So this is pretty much an update of it, besides for like up here where the troops are just moving into some of the more Canadian areas. And up here, they have almost reached all the way up to the shore of the Hudson Bay. But now we need to talk about the alliance layer. And on here we have, of course, all of South America, most of North America, pretty much all of Asia, and then just different countries that are scattered all over the place. But with the addition of the South American countries into this war, and including the new things, we see a big influx of troops over here. Same thing with all the Asian countries. So, this influx of troops is really going to help out the Green Team defend the country. And Green Team nationalism is on the rise right now. They are becoming stronger. And with this influx of troops, these guys kind of don't stand as much of a chance. And over here, all this occupation is given over to Canada, and the Canadians are actually pushing back right now because of all these troops that they've been getting. So that is also very good. And it gets to about here, and they say, "Look, we will take some land from the Peach Team, a little bit of land from the Green Team, and a little bit of land from Canada. And you, America, can take a little bit of land from us down here in this little piece. But you will let us leave the war with no further sanctions or anything economic. And America is going to accept this." And here is basically the peace treaty that was designed out of this. And the Red Alaskans get a lot of land. They get this province from the Green Team, this province from the Old Peach Team, which is also a lot of land. And then they also get 2 northern provinces up here. This province right here, and then this island was also a province, I believe, or it was just a part of this province. But they get all of that land, and that's a good amount. Like, that really is a very good amount. Meanwhile, Canada will get all this occupied land back. They will get all the Peach Team back. And the Green Team is going to get this province back. One of their more original provinces, because they used to have a lot more land in this area. But yeah, all that land is returned to them, which makes them very happy, because this is like their original land, like I said. But the Alaskans get all this rest of this land back. And the Alaskans, they have been for a while, but they are the most successful country to ever exist. They are the most successful communist country to ever exist. And probably the most successful country to ever exist, because there's only like 2 countries that have ever been bigger than them, and they were colonial empires, which isn't really a thing this time. So they are very big. And now that they're out of the war, North America and South America can focus on Europe, Asia, and Africa. Speaking of Asia, we are going to look at the Russian front line. Studying over here, these guys, the Nordic Union is going to be moving into some more of these provinces, and they're just going to be taking more land from them, and it's pretty successful. They're able to get a lot of land back from them. But this little push front line over here is also going very well, with it getting some traction. And we are going to switch this front line to more of a darker green. Like this color, that represents it better. But they are going to be moving out into this way more. But everywhere else, they are failing to make a counterattack. We see them specifically moving down on the southern border and attacking this area right here, moving through these lands. But then again, we also see them moving into the purple team and capturing some of this border. And the purple team is not nearly as strong as them, so they're able to get their troops pretty far down into the purple team. But they will be stopped after they kind of just put some more defensive troops up here. But now we see kind of a turning point for the democratic forces against Russia. Before we see that, we see Russia going ahead and getting rid of these basically counterattacks. We see a lot more Russian troops being active, and they're able to take a lot more land back. They are not able to get to this little sea up here. It is very well blocked off, but they are able to get a lot of this land up over here back into their control. And they make a landing with the sea over here. So this is basically like an exclave. But they are able to push them back a lot. And then we're going to see that turning point. And that is Prussia joining the Checkmark Alliance on the side of the blue team. And remember, the Checkmark Alliance is not an alliance. It is just anybody who is part of the war, but they are not in an alliance. Right after this, we're going to turn the major cities for this. We see them starting to mark. We see a lot of troops being sent in through these guys to attack, and they end up taking a major city. And this area is highly protected by a lot of troops. But we see them leak down into areas down here, down near this border, and they're able to take back a pretty major offensive on this side. And this helps distract them, leading to something like this happening, to where we see forces moving out and taking this major city, as well as green team forces meeting up with this, and pretty much kicking all of that back, and launching their offensive into this area to meet at this major city, and they actually take the major city, meeting up with the yellow team. But quickly, we do see forces recapturing it, but it just shows how many troops are being sent here, because there are a lot of Asian troops that are being sent through here. The Russians will do a swift counterattack, though, forcing some of their areas back, but a pretty offensive front line is held over here, as that was a very quick surprise, and they are kind of marching their troops out of this area, which isn't really helping them at the moment. So they moved some of their troops out of this area. They held on to the major city, though. And now it's more like this. And now they're deciding that they're going to go all in on this front line in hopes of reaching the capital city. And they take a major city, and they're just, like I said, they're throwing forces at these front lines, and they end up taking a lot of major cities. They get behind this front line over here, and yeah, it kind of collapses, leading to this major city being taken back, and the rest of this being severely weakened. But eventually, they will put some more troops on this front line over here, saving them, until it gets to about like this. So this is the current front line, and Russia is getting kind of thrown back. Over here, the Russians aren't too worried about this area, as we see another major city taken, and just more and more areas being taken over by the Great Siberians. And another major city falls. And about this point, they hit a roadblock, as Russia's starting to send some forces over here. But then again, it's not a real major thing. They're not really focused on this. The Northern Siberians captured this major city, and that's really all they do. Because it's so cold, there's no real point of invading up here. So it's really like, they kind of, yeah, there's not really anything up here, so I don't even know why they're doing it. But now, we're going to move on to a new front line. Specifically, the Communist Chinese front line. And on this front line, which our major city's back on, they are moving more troops into the Chinese area to very little success. They aren't really getting anywhere, but it is still there. But they are mainly focused on pushing back this front line here. Wrong button. Mainly focused on taking back this front line that the Koreans have. And they actually meet up with the sea, which leaves this area alone. So they're evacuating the troops out of it, and they're able to take it back. But over here, they still have some troops over here, and they're able to push them out and over to here. And overall, a very major success for the Communist Chinese. Now they have decided that they're going to go on a new offensive, and this offensive is actually it's called the Taiwan Offensive, and this is a very important offensive for them, because they take the major city in Taiwan, and they're able to take over these islands here, leading to them probably being able to attack the Koreans, and which they do. They successfully take the southern island over here, but Korean troops are being moved down to deal with them, but they're going to hold out in that major city for now. Meanwhile, they're going to send some other troops on this front line of the Chinese, and the Chinese are very weak in this. They've always been weak, kind of, in the series. They've always been weak. I thought they've never really given them the strength they have, because most of their Chinese areas that are really prosperous are up here in Communist China, which was owned by Korea for a long time, and they've just always not been very strong. But we see them actually being able to hold out, and we see them pushing back this entire offensive, but at the cost of a lot of forces over here and a major city being taken. And this area over here is actually getting pressed back a lot, because how many troops were moved over. But we do see forces of the Chinese invade onto Taiwan and take it back a little bit, take back the southern portion of it. But no further success besides for the islands over here, this island chain over here, which is taken back, and eventually all of Korea that on the Japanese Isles is taken back. But we have just a little bit more things to talk about, and it's that they know this war is not really going to go anywhere for them. And they know that. All of their allies, and even the fascists, no, they aren't going to win. They are literally 5 fascists in the war right now. 2 of them are currently not doing anything. But we'll get some more of that later. For now, we're going to get to probably last bit of an episode, which is actually these 2 that are actually going to do something. And it's actually just them getting attacked. These guys really aren't strong. They aren't, even though they have fascist governments and they could be good and stuff. These guys are just really weak. They are just not strong at all. So much, though, that they can just move their forces out here into the desert and pretty much just capture it, because how weak these guys are. Eventually, it'll look like this. These guys really, I don't know why they're fighting. They don't. The top one is like, what are we doing? And eventually, we see sort of an open rebellion break out near the capital, and it basically just captures the capital. Most civilians are in support of this, so we can kind of see like what the groups are. Pretty much the big groups, including like the capital city area, that are part of this. But now we're going to actually see them starting to attack the government, and they're just attacking this area. There's really nothing here anymore. So they meet up with all their groups, and they're able to force what's left of the military out of this area until eventually they just surrender over to where the new government will take place. It looks kind of like this, but we're going to be reverting it back to more of back to the darker color. It'll just be a lighter version of it. This is the new color of the government, and you can probably tell it's a little different. These guys are now in they're a pretty good democracy. They are a pretty strong democracy at that. And they are actually going to be joining the war on the side of democracies to help fight against the orange team. The orange team is caught off guard by this, and yeah, they lose. They surrender over to the blue team, and that was fairly simple. We see the blue team. They pretty much leave the war just to get control, so that they can control this land, so that these guys can stay in the war and keep fighting. And they will take land, which is pretty undemocratic of them. But they're kind of doing it as a lesson, and the world doesn't really have time to care about it, even if they might not be a full-on democracy. They really just don't have the time or the money to care about it. For now, these guys are going to be left, they're going to be left occupied by these guys until the war is over, where we might see something happen with that. But, we're going to move just down south to where, there's a pretty big problem with these guys, as they are in a, multi-front war. They're, almost all sides of them are getting attacked, for the most part. We eventually just see all this northern invasion area be taken back by the red team. They are collapsing from the inside. So, what they decide to do is they decide to bring out chemical warfare. And now, this hasn't really been talked about yet, but, like, I have not talked about this in my series at all. So, it's something very new. But, they bring it out on the people of other citizens, like this. And this just pretty much everybody, this just gets everybody mad, okay? So now, almost every single country has come out on a public stage and criticized these guys, to the point of where most countries are at war with these guys already, and even more might be joining in soon. But we just see so many forces being smacked into these areas, it doesn't even matter anymore. Like, to this point, chemical warfare is not doing anything. Which, once it gets to, like, that is, honestly, once it gets to that, you're pretty much just cooked. If chemical warfare can't do anything, then you're not going to be able to make it out of this war alive. So, yeah, we just see them invading in more, and even more. Down south, they pull out all their troops. Every single piece of their troops. And then we see the final event of the video. And this final event is the unification between these two countries who were in the alliance together, and they have finally united. These have gotten really close in recent years, even though they were at war with each other for a while. And I don't know what this is. Okay, there we go. But they have finally united, and this is now the largest country in the world. These guys are very powerful. And no one really stands a chance against them. And then we see a gigantic major front line being established where the capital is taken. And, yeah, it's pretty unsettling. But, that is the final event of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. And, the next video, the finale, actually, not part 2. The finale of episode 50. The final episode of What If Civilization, where I can tie everything together, and then I will be announcing something very big. And yeah, stay tuned for more, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.